got Daniel 7, 9, and 10. All right, go ahead and take Daniel 7, 9, and 10. Yeah, hold on.
The book of Daniel, chapter 10, verse 5. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man, clothed in linen, whose loins were girded in fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like beryl, and his face as an appearance of lightning.
Now we just saw his eyes were red with fire, right? In Genesis, he said his eyes were both. He said that his eyes were going to be red with wine. All right, this is the prophecy of Christ, right?
And his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and feet like in color of polished brass.
His arms and feet like in polished brass. Colored brass, it gets dark, okay? You got that? What you call it? Daniel 7, 9, and 10 was about the Ancient of Days. Ancient of Days. Yep, the Ancient of Days is actually God. He has no beginning or end, right?
Book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
That's the Most High God.
Whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool.
Wait a minute, it just said the Most High God, the creator of all heaven and earth and all things, he has woolly hair. Just like you, Mother Reed.
And his wheels as a burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth before him.
Right, you hold it like this. So it just lets you know that God himself has woolly hair. Christ said he came in the image of his Father, right? He said, you've seen the Father, you've seen me, right? So when you look at, this is not Christ, but when you're looking at the image of our men, we're actually looking at the face of God and the image of Christ. And if we had that understanding that we were out here murdering the children of God, the children of Christ, the children of Moses, maybe we would look at each other in a whole nother
children of Abraham.
The children of Abraham. And we would look at each other other than being what? Colored, African American, black, black. We're actually the Israelites. Niggers, spit, sweatbacks, screws, boys, we didn't have a zillion names other than where our biblical name is children of Israel.
Jamaican.
So you understand how we got to America, right? Okay, did you know that it was also prophesied in the Bible that the children of Israel, that if they did not keep the blood covenant with the Most High God, that one of the curses, and the churches always tell you about generational curses, right? You heard them say it, but they never break down the generational curses, but if you got time, we'll take you. Because this book right here from generational curses only applies to one nation of people on the earth, and that was us. Right? Yeah.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass.
As a matter of fact, hold that. Give me Deuteronomy 7. Give me Deuteronomy 7 first. And then we'll go there. Yeah.
We got stuff right now. That's called COVID-19.
Yeah.
You can't put God.
Listen. He said he was going to send pestilence on the earth. Pestilence means diseases.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
This is Moses speaking to the children of Israel out in the wilderness, right?
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
A special people unto himself.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Some people.
All people that are upon the face of the earth.
So God made a covenant with us and chose us out of the other nations to be the top nation upon the earth. And he gave his law, statutes, and covenants to us as an inheritance. And with that inheritance, and we followed that, we would be set up on high above all the other nations, and they would be in servitude. But because we broke the covenant, everything is turned upside down. We were here, now we're down here. We're base men. We're base men and women mean, if you look at a building, a three-flat, you got the third floor, the second floor, the first floor, you got the basement. We dwell beneath the basement as far as the hierarchy of this country and the other nations that are here. What you got?
Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy, it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Listen closely and do, right?
To observe and to do all his commandments.
All the commandments.
Which I command thee this day. And the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee,
All these blessings shall come and overtake me, meaning if we follow the commandments, the inheritance that God gave to us, because in the book of Psalms said he showed his word overtake. The statutes and commandments, as far as the other nations, he has not dealt with them, because they don't know them, right? So go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm still like you. Go ahead.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Okay, drop down to 15, because it's just going to give us a list of all the blessings. You're going to be here, you're going to be blessed in the city, blessed in the field, blessed shall your basket be, blessed shall the fruit of the womb be, thy womb be. Do you know what the fruit of a man or a woman's womb is? Do you know what the fruit of the womb is, according to the scriptures?
Yeah.
What is that? Your children. Yeah, the children. The children are the fruit of your womb. Okay, go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses,
all these what?
All these curses.
All these curses, go ahead.
Shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
This is what the church won't tell you. They keep telling you to just stay in the New Testament, the Old Testament is done away with, but we constantly see this continual cycle of these curses through generation through generation through generation. I'm down from Chicago, so y'all know y'all see what's going on down there. We see what's going on down here in up here in Cleveland. We know what's going on over in the Grand Rapids and Detroit area, down in Houston, down in New York. We are aware of these things because it's only happening to a specific people. Drop down and give me some of the curses that stand out to you.
The curses. It shall come, Deuteronomy 28, verse 25. And the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
All right. Hey, first, give me Zechariah 11:5. So, read that for me one more time, King.
It's Deuteronomy 28, verse 25. And the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies.
Who's our enemies? These people that did this to us. These same people right here, the same people that killed their brother up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, that they're up there rioting over. The same people who killed Michael Brown, killed Trayvon Martin. Them same people. Hold that real quick, Zechariah 11:5. Because it said we're going to be smitten by our enemies, right? So I'm going to prove to you that one of the curses of us being smitten by enemies, the prophet Zechariah, which is the father of John the Baptist, prophesied about this. And he warned our people. Zechariah 11:5.
You said 11:5?
Yeah, Zechariah 11:5.
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 5. Who possesses slay them, and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
Right, so it says who's possessing slavery. So when we came over here to slavery, and we never went back to where we came from, we can't leave America without a passport. We didn't even want to get it. So when you're taken somewhere in captivity or in bondage, you're taken millions of miles away to another land and you've never returned, you're still in that same captivity to this day. You might have a little freebies here and there, a few caboodles here and there, but at the same time, you're still not in the position that you were when you were at home. Right? What you got?
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28. And the Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
So when you're walking around through our ghettos and our communities, or so-called black communities, what do you see? You see walking dead. You see a lot of people walking out here strung out on drugs, they talking to themselves, they mind everywhere, they glitching, they lost in the matrix. You know what I'm saying? Their mind is gone. They're groping, it's noonday, and they're still walking like it's dark at night. They have no destination, they have no goals, they have nowhere to go because they are lost in the sauce, meaning that they're mentally destroyed. I'll be 50 in a couple of years. So back in the 90s, there was a rap group called Public Enemy called the Night of the Living Bassheads. So now we see in broad daylight that them same bassheads are walking around in broad daylight with the same function of destruction. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
Right. Martin Luther King, Malcolm, Jesse Jackson, Marcus Garvey, none of them black men saved us. They were all revolutionary black men. The one thing that was missing in their movement, they did not have the commandments of God with them, nor the faith. That's where all of that faith. Go ahead.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
And thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, right? What?
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long.
So when we're in slavery and they had the slave auctions, what were they doing? They were taking the women, cutting our women's, the women were having children. They come in, they take the children, put them on the auction block, sell them to Master Johnson, 200 miles away, or Master Tony, or Master Williams, and sell your children out. And the mothers would be there sitting there weeping and mourning with no strength in their hand. And the men, our men, we could not do nothing to save our children. The same thing happens today when the police comes and takes your children. The same thing when that state comes back and takes the DCFS, Children Family Services, whatever y'all call them in Cleveland. The same process that happened then, they can just come in your house, say something happened, and take your children, and you go through a whole bunch of hell. And they never get your children back, right?
And there shall be no might in thine hand.
You ain't got no strength to fight against these beasts. Go ahead and drop down the thing with it. 48.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. And therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst.
And hunger and in thirst. You just came out the grocery store. When you got to go buy food and feed your family or your husband or your grandkids, what you got to do, you got to go to your oppressor. The people that brought you in captivity. These are the curses God said he was going to put on who? Us, the children of Israel. Read.
In nakedness.
And in nakedness.
And in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
So when he put that yoke of iron upon our neck, that was the bondage. You can consider a yoke of iron when they had it shackled around our necks and our feet when we were walking like this. You see it in our prison systems today. When you go in the courtroom, you see a whole bunch of black men and Latino men all shackled. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing then, it's the same thing now. You know what I'm saying? They still whipping us, they still beating us, they still oppressing us. Nothing has changed other than the times. 400 some years later. Anything else you got?
Until he have destroyed.
Until he's what?
Until he have destroyed.
And what you see right now is a destroyed nation of people. The black man and black woman are the most destroyed people on the planet Earth. Whether you go to Canada, Mexico, you go to Brazil, you go to Puerto Rico. If you go into all the slums of the places where it's not beautiful, while the tourists come, when you go into those backwoods and those backlands, guess what you find? You find us. My wife's family was born in Puerto Rico, in the slums of Puerto Rico. She just looks like a light-skinned black woman. But you would never know that. Hold on, just two. Give me Deuteronomy 28, 68 with the slave ship, and then Exodus 22, and then I'll let you go and we'll get you a fire.
Okay.
I want to prove to you about this prophecy about slavery.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68.
Remember, these are the curses.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Now let's pause right here. The first time the children went into Israel, they went into Israel through Joseph. They sold their brother Joseph into slavery, went over into Egypt, and eventually we went into Egypt and we became a nation, right? So at one point in time, we had favor in the land of Egypt, and a new Pharaoh rose up that did not know Joseph, who was one of our forefathers. And that new Pharaoh put yokes of iron upon us, put us in bondage and slavery. Why? Because we're starting to grow. We started producing. We started to become more in number than them. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Okay, hold on. Give me Exodus 21 and 2. Exodus 21 and 2, and then we'll come.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20.
Now start at verse 1 for me, because I want to say when.
Verse 1. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God,
The Lord thy God,
which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So that word Egypt is synonymous with bondage, a house of slavery. Okay, so go ahead, back to 68.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again.
See no more again the land of Israel, the land of milk and honey that was promised to us by the Most High God. Go ahead.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
Now to your friends,
Unto your enemies.
to your homies,
Unto your
to those
enemies.
that love you.
Unto your enemies.
We were sold to our enemies, right? Go ahead.
For bondmen.
For what?
For bondmen.
For slave men
And bondwomen.
and slave women. Read.
And no man shall buy you.
Meaning no man shall redeem you, which is an old English Quaker term, meaning no man shall buy you, give you your free. See, one of the things that was written in our laws was that if we ever lost a war against any of our enemies, we would take our wealth and accumulate that, and we go back, buy our brothers back out of servitude, because, spoils of war. So if you lose a war, whoever wins, they oppress those people. So it was in our laws to go back and buy our brothers